So, the holidays are upon us once again, and for a lot of us that means few things. That we're going to be eating holiday food, and that we're going to be engaging in family and relationship dynamics that maybe we don't have to during out the other parts of the year. One of these dynamics that may come into play for some of us is the idea of triangulation. Now, triangulation can be used to refer to a lot of different aspects within a relationship dynamic. But for this particular video, we are simply going to focus on how triangulation can be used by one person to circumvent the boundaries set by another person. Now for this, what we're going to do is we're going to break down what each individual member of the triangle within triangulation does, and theoretically what they could do instead in order to avoid triangulation. In this instance, person one is going to be the person who is attempting to circumvent boundaries. If this is you, basically what that means is that you are in conflict with one person and decide to bring in a completely unrelated third party into that conflict. For example, if you've been asked not to engage with a certain person, or if you've been asked not to bring up certain topics or ask certain questions, but then you decide to get that third person to do it for you. Perhaps that third person might not necessarily be aware that these boundaries have been set into place. If you are person one in this situation and you feel that extreme need to engage with somebody, to ask the question, to say the thing that you've been asked not to say, and you feel that need and that entitlement even to go through with it, even though the very clear boundary has been set, then I would encourage you to remind yourself that people set boundaries for reasons. Whether or not we understand what these reasons are does not diminish from the fact that that boundary was set. So what I would encourage you to do is simply to respect the boundary, to not engage in triangulation. To continue on, person two in this situation is the person who is attempting to set the boundary. Now, if this is you, then what you may need to do is honestly to just restate these boundaries to everyone involved. It might also help to remember that the third person may not be aware that the boundary was ever set in the first place. The third person may be completely innocent in this situation. You may also be asked to explain why a particular boundary has been set, and if you're comfortable doing so, I would encourage you to do that. However, if you are not comfortable doing so, you are allowed to say that you are simply not comfortable expressing why the boundary is set. Lastly, what I encourage you to do after stating or restating your boundaries is to set a potential consequence for what would happen if your boundaries get crossed again. For this kind of thing, I'm going to repeat myself a little bit, but in this kind of thing, person three is also encouraged to set boundaries. If that first person keeps trying to get you involved, keeps trying to get you to be part of this triangle, you are allowed to set that boundary of, no, I will not be involved in this thing that has absolutely nothing to do with me. So there we go. Here we have it. A very, very simplified, possibly oversimplified look at what triangulation can mean and what maybe you can do about it if you get involved in this particular shape of family dynamics during these coming holidays. Thank you all very much, and I look forward to seeing you again soon.